Could I have a show of hands of anyone who has traveled outside of Bangladesh? Could you raise your hands? Wow. And of all those raised hands, could you put your hands back off if you learned something new from traveling abroad? Okay. I'd like to share a little bit about my experience and how convinced I am that study abroad should be mandatory for graduation, and that Bangladesh is an excellent place to come to study abroad. My own experience goes back to when I was a sophomore in college. One day, I went into my sorority sister's room, and I looked on her bed, and I saw a lot of travel guides of different cities in Europe. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm trying to decide where to go for my junior year abroad." I said, "Oh my God, I want to do that. That sounds amazing." When I was a teenager, we moved to Honolulu, Hawaii. And that is when I started to understand the native Hawaiian perspective of history. So from that point on, traveling really became my real education. And you can see I haven't stopped. Here I am in Bangladesh. And my travel has come even at having finished my formal education with a terminal degree. The real education that I've gotten has come from going to 140 countries. And it's been through traveling to so many countries, working with people, living with people, that I have come to realize that the things that I thought separated us were actually misguided opinions and stereotypes. I believe that travel is the best possible education, and that we should make it mandatory for graduation. In 2014, I was invited to come to Bangladesh to teach at North-South University. And the day that I landed at the airport, this is the first thing that I saw. A large cargo plane with UN written on it, and it really struck me. So since I came to Bangladesh, I got to know about Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. And I have learned what the UN is doing here, what the development sector is doing here, the humanitarian sector, and the diplomatic sector. And I have to say that I had heard about the Millennium Development Goals as part of my education when I was doing a master's degree at Columbia University in international education. But the MDGs were certainly not in front of me every day the way the SDGs are here. And that just reinforces the point that I'm trying to make, that traveling to a place and being in the context really brings learning to life, because our formal education is so theoretical. So what I'd like to talk a little bit about today are the Sustainable Development Goals themselves. I think in the spirit of this talk that we're giving, Innovation Enabling Social Change, that it would be absolutely incredible if Bangladesh could be a place where we could set up a beta K through 16 school system that was built around the SDGs. And in the research that I'm doing right now, I'm actually trying to see whether or not it's already in the curriculum. And what I found out by talking to some people from UNESCO and the national textbook developers is that Bangladesh, the government of Bangladesh, has a plan, the next 5-year plan, to actually incorporate the sustainable goals into the next 5-year plan and revise the textbooks. I think that's absolutely incredible. In fact, I don't know of any other country that's doing that. So Bangladesh could actually be an education innovator for the rest of the world. From the point of view of comparative and international education, developing countries have traditionally either inherited or borrowed educational models from other countries. But I have been here now, this is my 6th year, and I firmly believe that Bangladesh is in a position to create its own educational system. So I am looking forward to the opportunity to see an international education fund established so that students could go to other countries to study and that other countries could send their students and their teachers to Bangladesh to learn about what it really means to create a sustainable future. And that is why I think it's so critical that we make study abroad mandatory for graduation. Because in a 2018 Insider Higher Ed article, it was revealed that in the case of the United States, about 10.9% of all undergraduate students study abroad. But half of them, like I did, go to Europe. And about 11% come to Asia. But most of them, if they come to this part of the world, they do go to India. So why not Bangladesh? We see that students who study abroad have a 98% increased sense of their cultural values and biases. They have about a 96% increase in self-confidence and a 97% attribution that their sense of maturity increases by having studied abroad, and 90% say that their social skills have improved. Now, we talk about this skills gap. You know, it's in the conversation all the time today. Well, if you want a workforce that has soft skills, that has a cosmopolitan mindset, how are they supposed to get it? I firmly believe that study abroad is one of the best ways for students to develop these skills. Because there's no better way to learn a language than study abroad and going to that country. You become more independent in your thinking. You become more creative. You have lifelong learning that develops. Your communication skills overall become better, and the marketplace welcomes and seeks out those people who have international experience. So, I would love to see more international students come to Bangladesh to study abroad. So the next time that I go into a sorority sister's room and she's looking at travel guides to decide, where do I want to go to study abroad, I would like to see the travel guide for Bangladesh on that bed with the other options. Because the fact that the government of Bangladesh has so firmly embraced the SDGs and has so many agencies here supporting it, it's really the perfect place. It's an excellent place to come and do research. So I would love to see Bangladesh become a destination country for study abroad, and I hope all of you will support me. Thank you.